So I'm wondering how many of you have been asked, what do you use believe? What do Unitarian Universalists, yeah, put up your hands. What do you believe over there? In fact, this might be your first time here, and so you might be asking that question too. What do you believe here? So let me say that the world's worst answer to that question is, oh, we can believe whatever we want. Because that is not true. In fact, Doug Mooter, who is a UU minister, says the opposite is true. More than any other religion, this faith pushes us to ask, is that really true? Or is that just something that everybody gets on the bandwagon and believes? We have to be more discerning, more honest, more investigative. Question. We encourage you to question and to research and to talk with each other, talk with your elders, and read. So our beliefs take a little time to be formed because we have to figure them out. They're not handed to us when we come in the door. We're not handing out something that says, this is what you must believe to be here. No, we have room for very many different beliefs, including yours. We're interested in searching for truth and meaning that means something to you. So I think the difference between believing and the truth is sort of the story of Santa Claus. You know, we can believe that Santa is real and that he flies through the air with flying reindeer and he delivers packages to all the children in the world in one night. And we do believe that when we're in magical thinking age of 2 to 8 years old. But then our brains mature, we get concrete thinking, and we start to look at the facts. Can reindeer really fly? And how could Santa be at this mall and Santa be at this mall at the same time? So science steps in, and it tells us what's possible and what's not possible, and then we adjust our beliefs. And that's like Unitarian Universalism. I want to share the story for all ages with you, what was written by Gary Kowalski. He says, babies don't believe anything. Babies aren't born Buddhist or Baptist or believers of any sort. But soon after we arrive in this world, we start to gather ideas. We pick up beliefs and ideas about people and animals and families. We collect ideas about stars and comets and how it all got started. We accumulate beliefs about what's good and bad, what's right and wrong, what's healthy and what's not healthy. We also accumulate ideas about what's important in life. Now, we get these beliefs from our parents. We get them from our friends. We get them from TV. We get them from teachers. We get them from books and religious education. All of this goes into our belief bag. Now, most religions define themselves by what they believe. Christians, for example, believe in Jesus. Muslims believe in Allah and the Prophet Muhammad. Buddhists believe in the Four Noble Truths. But Unitarian Universalists don't have just one set of beliefs that everybody must believe. We are open to many different beliefs, including yours. Because there are different ways of holding a belief bag, this is what distinguishes us from other religions. For example, some people hold their belief bag like this. They don't want any new information messing with their beliefs. They keep it locked up, and they don't want, they have it all wrapped up, a real nice little package, and they don't want people to, ask them, question what they have in there at all. And so we call these people closed-minded. Then there are other people who carry their beliefs like this. Doesn't really matter what goes in or not. Whatever, happens to be out in popular now, okay, we'll put that in. Okay, we'll put that in. It could be a good idea, it could not be, but a lot of people believe it, and the internet says it's true. And President Trump says there is no global warming. We just put that in there. We just put our beliefs in there very loosey-goosey, and we call these people sloppy thinkers. Then there are people that carry their bag like this. And they use it to hit people. They bully people with what they believe. And they exclude you if you don't believe what they believe. So, Unitarian Universalist is different than this. This is how we carry our belief bag. Open. There's room for more beliefs to come, more wisdom to come my way, and there's room for the beliefs that don't fit anymore to come out. We hold it in front of us because we want to make sure and examine what we're putting in there, instead of just blindly believing something. So some people carry their bags like the club that says, you are wrong if you don't believe what I believe. If you don't believe Jesus Christ is God, then get out, get away from me, and don't touch my bag. But none of these are Unitarian Universalist beliefs. We are open. This is what Unitarian Universalists mean. The next time someone asks you what you believe in your church, you can tell them, we're not really concerned very much about beliefs. What we're concerned about is how you carry them. If you are open or if you are closed. If you are willing to hear my truth and let me hear your truth. How we carry and how we share them, how we acquire our beliefs is what counts. Yet some people will still be looking for a doctrine. They're looking for a book. Christians have the Bible. Jewish people have the Torah. Muslims have the Quran. And we don't have a book. And so people think, well, if you don't have a book, what helps you? And we have 7 guiding principles and 6 sources we draw from in order to, put something in our belief bag. So, I don't really think of those principles as beliefs. I do believe that they are true, and you probably do too, all the principles listed on your order of service. But I don't see them the same as Christians who believe in Jesus, and Muslims believe in Muhammad. So, yes, I believe they're true, but I don't believe in them. I believe they are more instructions to us. I heard somebody say, religions are just kind of irritants. Because they're telling us how to live our life. And I believe they are really an outline of goals of how we can envision together and work together to create this into reality. They're not platitudes, they're instructions. They're an invitation to dream together. It kind of reminds me of Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration of Independence. It wasn't a statement of fact. It was an invitation to dream together and to create this new world together. To build a country that would someday have inalienable rights for every man, woman, and child, where people had the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That didn't exist when he wrote the Declaration of Independence. And this doesn't exist yet either in our world. And I think that's our job, is to work toward that. So let's look at the 7 principles individually. They are full of lovely words. I don't know if you noticed. Worth and dignity, justice, equity, compassion, spiritual growth, the democratic process, peace, liberty, justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of life. So, if our religion is just asking people if they believe these things are true, I think pretty much everybody on the planet could agree. These are true, and they are a good idea. Justice, equity, and compassion, and human relations. I mean, I don't know of any religions that preach something that, okay, we should work as hard as we can to not let world peace happen. I mean, there just aren't religions that say that. They're saying we are peaceful and we want peace on earth. So, I think of these 7 principles sort of as a prayer, not to believe in them, but to live in them. Together, take our energies and dream together. It's an invitation for us to dream together of what is possible on this planet. So I use this often for myself as a prayer. So I'm going to invite you to pray with me, to close your eyes and speak the first principle. I affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Together. I affirm and promote every worth and dignity of every person. Amen and blessed be. Think about how powerful that sentence is. I affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world? To get there, I think we have to increase our kindness. We have to increase opening our heart and even be kind to people that don't deserve it. People that we think, oh, how do we get to inherent worth and dignity of that person? And create this new world that never existed before. Are you treating everyone with inherent worth and dignity? People that you don't agree with, I'll be willing to say I don't agree with Donald Trump's techniques, and yet I pray for him every day to come to awareness and awakeness and develop empathy so he can be more effective in the world. So are you practicing that? Number 2, we affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. So please say it with me. We affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. Again, I don't think there are churches this morning that are preaching injustice, inequity, and lack of compassion in human relationships. But I do know that there are churches that act that out. I have a client that just started this semester. She's in high school at the Houston Christian High School. Her father is Hindu. Her first day of school, teachers and students alike told her, your father is going to hell. She's 14 years old. And she's been very distressed, so much so they brought her to therapy. She was told he was going to hell and he would burn there for all of eternity. And I thought to myself, what on earth? That's why living our principles is so important. Not just reading it out of a book and going, yeah, that's a good idea. No, living it. I wrote to the principle. Thank you, Jimmy Dunn. Jimmy Dunn taught me the power of writing letters and, speaking out when you see injustice and craziness in the world. The reality is we have to speak up. That's part of being Unitarian Universalists. We are not afraid to say out loud what our beliefs are. We take action when we see that there's something is unjust. Now, a corollary to that principle is that we promote taking action where action is needed. We cannot stand silently on the sidelines. we have to be willing to write those letters and to say, this is wrong, and to help us get to this vision that we have, this dream. We have to speak up. We have to write letters. We have to march. We have to make posters and say, this has to change. Now, I will tell you, as I did last week, that I wrote a letter to the Houston Chronicle editorial pages, and they printed it. And the letter was about shout out to Mitt Romney for standing up during the impeachment trial and voting for conviction of the offenses. So I just wrote a very simple little letter, and they put your full name on it. And somebody tracked me down and sent me a letter in the mail to my personal address. If it was you, let me know. And to tell me how wrong I was and how I was watching the wrong television shows, and I should not be watching that CNN stuff, that fake news, MSNBC. Anyway, the letter said, I know you hate Trump. And I thought, you don't even know me. How can you know that? I'm just saying good for Mitt Romney for standing up for what he believed. But, there's a lot of fear in the world, and there's a lot of, clutching, how dare you say that he stood for something decent. And so they don't want to let that in. So we, as Unitarians, cannot stand by and say nothing when there's injustice going on. Our third principle says we affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. So let's say that together in two parts. The first part is we affirm and accept one another. We affirm and accept one another. And we affirm and promote encouragement in spiritual growth in our congregations. We affirm and promote encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Are you doing that? Are you accepting every member of this fellowship that comes, every guest that comes? Are you encouraging their spiritual growth by showing up on Sunday mornings? I mean, you're here. It's wonderful. But seeking out the lonely, seeking out people that feel not connected, and bring them into our family. Are you doing that? Helping them feel part of, honoring them, seeing them. We're all in this boat together. And it's important for us to have that vision of the world where everyone counts. Nobody gets left behind. That's part of what we believe in Unitarian Universalism. We are inclusive, and nobody gets left behind. Last weekend, my son went to the Landmark Forum, which I'm sure when he comes, he will be happy to tell you about. More than you want to know, he will tell you. We went to his graduation ceremony on Tuesday, where the MC asked what people had learned over the weekend. And my son stood up in front of hundreds of people and said, I learned that in order to be, I have to create it inside myself first. If I want peace, I have to live peace. I have to have peace inside of me. And what I learned, he said, is I do have that inside of me. And if I can have peace, so can you, and so can you, and so can you, and so can you. And we can all have that peace inside of us. And then we can change the world. I've shown you my poster before. I'm going to show it again. 100,000 students in Thailand praying for peace. They get together once a year and they pray for peace. So isn't that beautiful? So, let's see. Our fourth principle, We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So together, we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So, like I said earlier, we don't have a book that has all the answers in it. We have instead many, many books. In fact, the official statement at the UUA describes our faith as having 6 sources that we draw from. We draw from direct experience, where we see something that is sacred, and we have a sacred experience. We have our little 11-week-old grandson now, and when I hold him, I have a sacred, transcendent experience. Number 2, we learn from and use the source of words and deeds of prophetic people who taught the transformation of power of love, the transformative power of love. We also draw from the wisdom of all the world religions. Number 4, the Jewish and Christian teachings, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors, by loving our enemies, and by loving ourselves. We also draw from humanistic teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, that climate change is real, and to listen to the scientists that are saying that to us. And the 6th is spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. You see, UUs are not afraid of the truth. They're not afraid of the truth changing. They're not afraid of learning new things. We read the great religious books, and we read storybooks and children's books and science books and choir books. We find truth and meaning from watching TV, from watching movies, from reading poetry, from writing poetry, and from watching a big mound of ants scurry about. We connect to the greater energy. I remember hearing a story about a dog that got left behind on vacation 700 miles away from home, and yet he made it home. I'm going to put in my belief bag, miracles really do happen. I'm one of them. Sarah's one of them. That we are here to say our body is miraculous and can heal. So that's in my belief bag. Number 4, we affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And that's probably my favorite principle, because I love to learn, don't you? UUs are usually readers. We're the ones that are the 1% top scorers in the SAT. We're the ones that are the 1% top scorers in the MedCat exams. Unitarian Universalists love to learn. So, there's a lot to put in your belief bag. Life is exciting. So, here's number 5. We affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations. The right of conscience says if something is not within a person's value system, they can refuse to do it. So there's a movie that I encourage you to get. It's a very emotional movie. It's called Hacksaw Ridge. Did anybody see that? It's about the soldier in World War II who exercised his right of conscience and refused to carry a gun. He refused to shoot a gun. He refused to carry a gun. This is a true story. Desmond Doss. It's an excellent movie. In the movie, it shows Desmond Doss in Okinawa during the bloodiest battle of World War II, saving 75 men, Japanese men, American men, black men, white men, brown men, all without carrying or firing a gun. He was shot at, but he didn't shoot back. We affirm and promote this right of consciousness to say, no, I'm not going to war. No, I'm not going to do that if it doesn't fit with our soul. At the same time, we affirm and promote the democratic process. To me, this means power to the people. Power to the people right on. As Abraham Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address, that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. We must continue to affirm and promote our democracy. I don't know about you all, but I was disappointed in the senators and some of the House of Representatives where they didn't stand for what they believed. They were too afraid of losing their job. 2 people stood for what they believed. They were both fired. And so we have to continue to stand for our democracy and promote it of the people, by the people, for the people. Our 6 principle states we promote and affirm the goal of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Remember, if I can have peace inside of me, which I do, you can have it inside of you as well. And collectively, we will stand with, on the side of love, on the side of peace, these Thai children. So, our last principle, this is it, 7th principle, we affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. It's protesting, speaking out loud, saying out loud the lack of governmental action addressing climate change. We have to write, we have to march, we have to join Greta Thunberg in her vision of clean air and clean water for everyone. It's the Declaration of Independence. We have to join her. You know Greta? She's the teenage girl that has everybody protesting by not going to school on Fridays. She's the one courageous woman. So in conclusion, I want to tell you about Miles Kimmel. He tells the story that he was raised as a Mormon. He left the church because he felt they lied to him. I left the Baptist church when I felt lied to as well. I was told that Gandhi was burning in hell, and I thought, I don't think that's true. How many of you felt lied to with the religion that you were brought up in and had to say no? Miles Kimball said he left the church because it seemed too small as well. He said, besides being repelled by the lies, I left my previous religion for Unitarian Universalism because its theological underpinnings felt too small. I felt the universe, and even our still tentative understanding of the universe, had a grandeur that was missing in the Mormon church. When I was still a believer in Mormonism, I resolved that I would only leave it for something that was bigger and better. And although Unitarian Universalism has a certain kind of minimalism to it, only 7 principles, we don't have a book, it not only allows but encourages the freedom of thought that allows in all the best and most wonderful thinking that has ever been in the history of the world. This is truly grand. And I leave you with that. This church, this fellowship, this faith, these 7 principles are truly grand. And I thank you for listening to me and letting me stand for what I believe and for standing with me. Blessed be, and amen. As you go forth this week, leave your belief bag open to new wisdom, open to new just love coming your direction. Just be open to receiving and giving. Blessed be.